Sheriff Tom was a familiar face in the small town of Willow Creek. He was a tall man with kind eyes and a warm smile, often seen greeting townsfolk as he walked through the streets. Each morning, his sunrise ritual included a strong cup of coffee and a stroll around Main Street, where he made sure to chat with shop owners, children, and anyone who needed help. His dedication to the community ran deep. He always believed that a sheriff's badge was more than just an emblem. For over 10 years, Sheriff Tom had worked tirelessly to maintain peace and safety in Willow Creek. Whether it was directing traffic at school drop-off or helping find lost pets, he approached every task with enthusiasm. People knew they could count on him during tough times, and his reputation for fairness earned him the respect of everyone in town. But what truly set Sheriff Tom apart was his strong sense of justice. He listened intently to both sides of every story before making decisions. He understood that being fair was essential because the heart of law enforcement lay not in power but in empathy. He often shared tales of how he learned from each situation, proving that mistakes were not failures but opportunities to improve. As his badge sparkled proudly on his uniform, Sheriff Tom felt a wave of mixed emotions wash over him. Today would be special, no doubt about it. But he knew that along with this honor came new challenges he had yet to face. Little did he realize how much the badge would weigh on him, not just physically but emotionally too. The journey ahead would test him like never before. The sun shone brightly over Willow Creek as the day of the badge ceremony arrived. Excitement buzzed in the air, and the townspeople gathered in the square, filling it with laughter and chatter. Colorful banners decorated the lampposts, and a large stage stood proudly at the center, ready for the big event. Sheriff Tom could feel his heart racing as he made his way through the crowd, greeted by friendly waves and cheerful smiles. Children ran around with balloons, while families set up picnic blankets to enjoy the festivities. Local musicians played lively tunes that made everyone tap their feet. Tom's friends and neighbors had come together to celebrate this special moment in his life. As he approached the stage, he noticed Mrs. Jenkins, the town baker, holding a platter of cookies that smelled delicious. She winked at him, saying, "You better save me a dance after this." When it was finally time for the ceremony to begin, Sheriff Tom climbed onto the stage, feeling a mix of pride and nerves. The mayor stepped forward with a smile, speaking about Tom's dedication to Willow Creek and how he had touched many lives. The crowd erupted in applause as they cheered for him. As Tom stood there listening to kind words and encouragement, he felt a sense of belonging wash over him. It was more than just a badge. It represented trust and hope for his community. When the mayor pinned the shiny badge onto his chest, a wave of emotions surged through him. He realized this moment marked not just an achievement but a new chapter filled with responsibilities, and he was ready to embrace them all. As Sheriff Tom stood on the stage, the shiny badge now pinned to his uniform, a wave of mixed emotions washed over him. The weight of the badge felt heavier than he had expected, not because of its physical mass but due to the profound responsibilities it represented. In that moment, he realized that this small piece of metal was a symbol of trust and protection for the entire community of Willow Creek. Looking out at the smiling faces in the crowd, he understood that people were counting on him to keep them safe and uphold justice. The joyful cheers from his friends and neighbors echoed in his ears. Yet beneath that cheer was a silent acknowledgement of the challenges ahead. Sheriff Tom had always believed in fairness and kindness, but now he knew he would have to make tough decisions that could impact lives. He remembered stories from his own childhood about brave sheriffs who faced danger and adversity. Those stories inspired him, but now they took on a deeper meaning. He was not just wearing a badge. He was stepping into the shoes of those heroes. As he adjusted the badge on his chest, it felt like a reminder that with every call for help, there would be expectations for him to respond with courage and wisdom. Taking a deep breath, Tom steadied himself. He felt proud to be chosen for this role, but also understood that it would mean long nights, difficult choices, and moments of doubt. Yet, he was ready to face whatever came his way because he loved Willow Creek and its people wholeheartedly. This badge was not just an honor. It marked the beginning of a journey filled with responsibility, growth, and service. Just a few days after the ceremony, Sheriff Tom stood in his office, an air of determination about him. He had just settled in when a frantic knock echoed through the room. It was Mrs. Thompson, the elderly woman who lived down the street. She rushed in, eyes wide with worry. "Sheriff, my cat Whiskers is missing. He's never stayed out this long." Tom felt a tug at his heart. Missing pets were a common concern in town, but this case felt personal. It reflected his promise to protect every member of the community, furry ones included. "Don't worry, Mrs. Thompson," he said assuringly, grabbing his hat and quickly heading out. The search for Whiskers took him through backyards and parks, where children joined in the quest to find the beloved cat. After a couple of hours and many hopeful calls of Whiskers, they finally found him curled up under a porch. Mrs. Thompson's tears of relief reminded Tom how even small things could have big impacts. Just as he returned from the celebration of finding Whiskers, another call came over the radio. A minor traffic accident near Main Street involving two vehicles. Sheriff Tom hurried back to his patrol car, adrenaline pumping again as he raced to the scene. Upon arrival, he saw two cars with dented fenders and slightly shaken drivers exchanging nervous glances. He calmly moved to assess the situation. He listened attentively as both drivers explained their sides of the story while he took notes and ensured no injuries were present. In one moment, Tom was celebrating love for pets. In the next, he was mediating between stressed drivers. These unexpected challenges reaffirmed what it meant to be sheriff. Things could change quickly, but each moment was an opportunity for service and growth in his new role. One afternoon, Sheriff Tom received a report about suspicious activity near the old mill on the outskirts of town. Eager to prove himself, he quickly gathered a couple of deputies and raced to the location without taking enough time to assess the situation. As they arrived, excited to confront what they thought might be troublemakers, they found a group of teenagers playing music and having a picnic. Feeling embarrassed, Tom didn't want to appear weak in front of his team. He approached the kids somewhat bluntly and asked for their identification. The teens looked startled, but they complied and explained that they had only chosen the mill as a fun spot to hang out. Realizing his mistake, Tom felt a knot in his stomach. Instead of introducing himself warmly or simply asking them to keep the noise down, he had come across as harsh. After they left, Tom sat in his patrol car with his head in his hands. The weight of the badge felt heavier than ever as he replayed the scene in his mind. He knew he needed to learn from this experience. That night, he took some time to reflect on how important it was to communicate with kindness and understanding. The next day, he returned to the old mill. This time, he brought cookies and approached the same group of teenagers with a friendly smile. "Sorry about yesterday," he said. "I didn't handle it well." They were surprised but grateful for his honesty. They chatted about their plans and even invited him to join them next time. From that moment on, Sheriff Tom understood that being a good sheriff meant more than enforcing rules. It required building relationships with all members of the community, an essential lesson that would guide him in the future. As weeks passed, Sheriff Tom continued to embrace his role, but the pressure of his responsibilities weighed heavily on him. One rainy afternoon, he received a call about a serious car accident on the highway. He and his deputies worked tirelessly to manage the scene, helping injured people and coordinating with emergency services. The experience drained him both physically and emotionally, leaving him feeling overwhelmed after the chaotic day. The following morning, as Tom walked into the local diner for breakfast, he noticed something unusual. The usual chatter quieted down as townsfolk turned to look at him. He felt a wave of anxiety wash over him, thinking they might be judging him for how he handled the accident. But instead, the owner of the diner, Mr. Harris, stood up with a smile. "Sheriff, we just wanted to say thank you for everything you do." Suddenly, everyone around him began clapping and cheering. They expressed their gratitude for his hard work and dedication to keeping Willow Creek safe. His heart swelled with warmth as people came up one by one to share stories about how he had helped them or someone they loved. Feeling lifted by their support, Tom realized he wasn't alone in this journey. That evening, a knock echoed through his office door. A group of community members had organized a small gathering to show their appreciation. They brought cookies, lemonade, and heartfelt notes thanking him for being a caring sheriff. In that moment, Sheriff Tom understood that while the weight of his badge was significant, it was made lighter by the love and support of his community. They reminded him that together they could face any challenge that came their way, strengthening his resolve to serve Willow Creek with renewed energy and commitment. One evening, as dark clouds gathered over Willow Creek, Sheriff Tom received a weather alert about a severe storm approaching the town. The sky grew darker, and the winds began to howl, sending a chill through the air. He quickly called an emergency meeting with his deputies to discuss safety measures. As the first raindrops fell, Tom could feel the weight of his badge pressing down on him. He knew that many families lived in areas prone to flooding, and he needed to act fast. "We need to check on the vulnerable neighborhoods," he instructed his team, his voice steady despite the growing storm. "Let's make sure everyone has a way to stay safe." The wind picked up, and soon the rain poured down in sheets. Sheriff Tom and his deputies drove through the streets, stopping at homes to remind residents to evacuate to higher ground if necessary. The sound of branches snapping and debris flying made the situation even more urgent. As they approached the riverside park, they noticed that the river was rising dangerously close to the banks. Tom quickly radioed for additional support, requesting sandbags to be brought in to help contain the floodwaters. He coordinated with local volunteers who rushed to assist, showing the community's spirit in the face of danger. While managing the chaos, Tom kept a close eye on his team, ensuring everyone stayed safe while working diligently to protect others. The storm raged on, but he felt a sense of purpose. This was his moment to lead and remind the townsfolk that they could trust him to keep them safe. By the end of the night, as the storm began to subside, Sheriff Tom looked around at his community, who had come together in such a challenging time. He realized that moments like these not only tested his abilities but also strengthened the bonds between him and the people of Willow Creek. As the storm subsided and the townspeople began to return to their homes, Sheriff Tom took a moment to stand on the edge of the riverbank, watching the water slowly recede. The chaos of the day had left him exhausted, but he felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He could hardly believe how much had happened in just a few short hours. Tom reflected on the way the community had come together during the storm. Neighbors helped each other, volunteers offered support, and even the youngest citizens participated in sandbagging efforts. It was a beautiful reminder of what it meant to be part of Willow Creek. This experience made him realize that being sheriff was not just about enforcing laws or responding to emergencies. It was about nurturing the spirit of unity among people. He thought back to his early days in this role when he often worried about making mistakes. Each challenge he faced, from finding whiskers to managing the storm, had taught him valuable lessons. He now understood that mistakes were part of growth and that every interaction was an opportunity to connect with someone and make a difference. As he stood there, Tom felt a renewed commitment to his role. The badge he wore felt different now. It was not just a symbol of authority but of trust, compassion, and resilience. That weight had become lighter as he recognized that he didn't carry it alone. The bond he shared with the community was what truly empowered him. With a deep breath, Sheriff Tom resolved to continue learning and growing. He knew challenges would always arise, but he also knew he had the strength of Willow Creek behind him, ready to face whatever came next together. As Sheriff Tom stood at the edge of the riverbank, watching the last traces of the storm fade away, he felt a profound sense of pride swell within him. The badge on his chest, which had once felt like an overwhelming weight, now seemed to shine brighter than ever. It was more than just a symbol of authority. It represented his connection to the people of Willow Creek and the trust they placed in him. Reflecting on his journey, Tom recognized how much he had grown as both a person and a sheriff. Each challenge he faced, from helping residents during the storm to building relationships with the community, had taught him invaluable lessons about compassion, leadership, and resilience. He understood that while the responsibilities of his role could be daunting, they also brought him closer to those he served. The smiles and gratitude from townsfolk reminded him that he was not alone in this journey. The unity displayed during the storm showed him that together, they could overcome any obstacle. Sheriff Tom knew that every interaction mattered and that listening to his community's needs was just as essential as enforcing laws. With renewed determination, He adjusted his badge and took a deep breath. He felt ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that he carried not only the weight of his badge, but also the support and love of Willow Creek behind him. This sense of belonging gave him strength and purpose. As he walked back towards town, Sheriff Tom felt proud. Proud to wear the badge, proud to protect his community, and proud to be part of a place where connection and kindness thrived. He realized that this journey was just beginning, and he was excited for what was yet to come.